Pinocchio. Once upon a time, in a tiny village, there lived a kind old carpenter named Geppetto. Geppetto was very lonely, so one day he decided to carve a little puppet from wood. He spent hours crafting the puppet until it looked just like a real boy. "I'll call you Pinocchio," Geppetto said, smiling at his new creation. That night, as Geppetto slept, a magical fairy visited his workshop. She saw how much love Geppetto had put into creating Pinocchio, and with a wave of her wand, brought the wooden boy to life. "Pinocchio," she said, "I'm giving you the gift of life, but remember, you must be brave, truthful, and kind if you ever want to become a real boy." Pinocchio was overjoyed. He could move, talk, and even dance. The next morning, Geppetto woke up and couldn't believe his eyes. "Pinocchio, you're alive," he exclaimed, hugging the wooden boy tightly. From that day forward, Pinocchio and Geppetto lived together like father and son. Soon, Pinocchio began attending school. But on his way, he met a sly fox and a cunning cat who tricked him into skipping school to go on an adventure instead. "Come with us, Pinocchio. We'll show you fun like you've never seen," they said. Pinocchio was curious and agreed to follow them, even though he knew it was wrong. The fox and cat led Pinocchio to a puppet show, where the puppet master, Stromboli, saw Pinocchio's magic and decided to capture him to make money. Pinocchio was trapped, but that night, the fairy reappeared to help him. She asked, "Why didn't you go to school?" Embarrassed, Pinocchio lied, "I did go to school." But as soon as he told the lie, something strange happened. His nose grew longer. The fairy explained, "Pinocchio, every time you tell a lie, your nose will grow. But if you are truthful, it will go back to normal." Feeling ashamed, Pinocchio promised to be honest from then on, and the fairy forgave him. With her help, Pinocchio escaped Stromboli's clutches and rushed back home. But on the way, he got caught up in another adventure. He went to a place called Pleasure Island, where boys played all day and didn't have to listen to rules. At first, it seemed like fun, but soon the boys began turning into donkeys because of their bad behavior. Pinocchio was scared. He started to grow donkey ears and a tail. He ran away, realizing that being lazy and naughty would only bring trouble. When he finally returned home, Pinocchio discovered that Geppetto had gone out looking for him and had been swallowed by a giant whale. Determined to save his father, Pinocchio bravely set out to find the whale. He swam far out into the ocean and found Geppetto inside the whale's belly. "Father, I've come to rescue you," Pinocchio cried. Together, they came up with a plan to make the whale sneeze by tickling its huge throat with smoke from a fire. The whale sneezed so hard that it spat them both out into the sea. Safe at last, Pinocchio and Geppetto swam back to shore. The fairy was so proud of Pinocchio for his bravery and kindness that she returned one last time. "Pinocchio," she said, "you have proven yourself to be brave, truthful, and kind. You have earned your wish." With a wave of her wand, she turned Pinocchio into a real boy. From that day on, Pinocchio and Geppetto live happily ever after, knowing that the greatest adventure of all was being together as a family. And Pinocchio always remembered that telling the truth, being brave, and being kind were what made him truly special. The end. The moral of the adventures of Pinocchio. Honesty, kindness, and bravery are what make us truly real. Pinocchio's adventures teach us that making mistakes is part of growing up, but learning from those mistakes and being truthful helps us become better people. Pinocchio had to learn the hard way that lying and misbehaving only led to trouble. But by showing love, courage, and responsibility, he finally became the boy he always wanted to be. Questions about the adventures of Pinocchio. 1. What did Geppetto carve from wood that magically came to life? 2. What happened to Pinocchio whenever he told a lie? 3. Who watched over Pinocchio and helped guide him on his journey? 4. How did Pinocchio and Geppetto escape from the whale? 5. What act of bravery helped Pinocchio become a real boy?
Little duck, quack, 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 quack.